Okay, everybody, it is the next day. As you can see, there goes some deer. See them out there running? That's a little yearling. The mama and another one are right over there behind the pile. And she's out there just a running, having a good old time. But anyway, it is the next day. We still have this rusty looking mess. I added a little bit more nitric. I'm seeing a little reaction, but I'm going to just go ahead and start filtering this off. I'm really hoping we didn't waste our time with this stuff, but anyhow, I will get back at you when we get set up and ready to filter. Okay, everybody, we are ready to start doing our filter. I'm actually going to I'm using a slow flow paper, and we're actually just going to filter this, whatever it is, off. What we should be keeping in this to refine should actually be whatever's left in this filter. This fluid should actually just be barren of any precious metals, but we will test it anyway. And from the looks of this stuff, it's going to take forever to filter. And I really don't know what we're going to end up with here, because I have never seen a rust colored mess like we have here. So I know it's going to take quite a while for this to filter off. So I'm just going to let it pretty much do its thing. Like I said, what we're wanting is what's going to be left in the filter. That would be where our precious metal should be. So we'll let this filter off and we'll get back at you. Okay, I just real quick wanted to pop in and show you guys what's going on. This is our nasty fluid that we got from our nitric acid dissolve. You can see the fluid that's I actually set up another little jar over here with another filter, because it's just taken forever for this to filter off. And then I'll even rinse this again in something separate. I'm going to keep these fluids separate and test them. There was still a little bit of stuff left in the beaker, so after stirring everything up and pouring it off into the filters, I put some more distilled water and a little bit more nitric acid in there. So I don't know if you can see that, we are getting quite a reaction now that we got most of that cleaned off, where we could get to this again. I'm just guessing that this is iron. I mean, I'm not positive, but it's got to be. I mean, that's the only thing I can think of. So I'm going to go ahead and let this finish dissolving till we get all this dissolved. We're going to let this filter, then we're going to rinse these filters really well, because what's in the filter is what we should want to be keeping. That's where our gold should be, or our gold foils, or our gold powder. But we also have all this funky rust looking stuff. So I'm going to do a little reading, see if I can find out anything about this, and continue to let this just dissolve off. It's actually getting cold out here again right now. This dissolving has been just as much of a process as every other part of these things. So it's really, I'm going to tell you guys, it's going to have to yield some gold for me to even fool with this. I mean, I may strip them out, just break them out and get the gold diodes off of them and, maybe save them up or something like that. But if I don't see a significant, at least a gram of gold out of this, you won't be seeing me do these again. I mean, I know I'm the preacher of it's a hobby and we're not supposed to whatever, but we're also supposed to enjoy it. I mean, that's the enjoyable part of this, to me, is the relaxing part. Like I said earlier about pulling pins. I don't mind pulling pins. I actually enjoy pulling pins. And I get something from the pins when I pull them. But this is an extremely tedious job. And I mean, like I said, right down to this dissolving of the metals to get to the gold foils and to get to the gold powder. It has just literally been a job. And now you can see, I mean, this one's been going for 45 minutes, and I mean, you can see that we're barely getting a drip every couple of minutes. I mean, I probably should have put this in the vacuum filter, but I didn't really want to mess up. I only have one vacuum filter for gold and one for silver, but I only have one beaker, and I didn't want to foul anything up. Like I said, I've never done this. Things that I've done before, I don't mind using my stuff, but when I've never done it before, I like to try and keep things separated until I know what we're gonna, what we're gonna end up with. But anyhow, I'm just babbling. You can see we're still having a heck of a reaction from that little bit of stuff in there. I'm gonna let this go ahead and play out, and we'll get back at you guys later on. Okay, guys, this stuff is, I mean, it's black out here now, and it's freezing cold. This stuff has pretty much been filtering all afternoon. This is that last little bit. Apparently, this black or this orange powder is basically iron, or our dissolved iron. This is from what I was able to read and what I was able to ascertain from what I read. We would have been far better off to go the cheap route with this and do the hydrochloric acid, because it would have dissolved the iron better. Apparently nitric acid and iron, don't get along very well, which I'm seeing here. I don't know if this is going to be a bust or what. I was trying to see. I read somewhere maybe we can add some sulfuric acid to this once we get it filtered and dissolve that iron. I'm not going to mess with it anymore. What I'm going to do is I am going to, when these completely filter off, I'm going to put these filters in a beaker. I'm going to go ahead and hit it with Aqua regia, because in the bottom of this we have some foils. I may be totally wrong. I'm not a chemist. I've said that time after time. Most of my experience doing this is practical and has been hands-on. I mean, I read as much as I can read and try to understand as much as I can understand, but I am definitely not a chemist. So I really don't know what to do to get rid of this. I do know next time, if I have iron and I know it's iron, which once again, I did not know that these were iron. I didn't, figure that out until we actually started getting that red, this red-brown color when we were dissolving the, the housing, the diodes. So anyway, whatever. I'm going to put this in Aqua regia. I'm going to see if we can do some kind of a drop. It may mess up, because iron will drop gold. I mean, this may just end up being a total waste of time. But I'm going to try it. I'm going to see if we can recover any gold. Whether we do or we don't, I'm not messing with these again. I mean, I will pull them apart maybe, or break them apart and get the gold thing and keep them separated, but I'm not going to process them. This has been actually kind of a frustrating experience for me, but it tells me that I'm not going to do this. I mean, maybe I know why there's no videos out there on it, or there's no information on it, because it's obviously quite a complicated thing to do. So our gold is basically still in here, and in here. So it's still there. It's not gone, however much there is, which I don't know. So that's what I'm going to do. And we'll see what happens. So we'll just go from there. That's why this is an experiment. So anyhow, I'll get back at you when we are ready to do that. Alrighty, everybody, you can see it's another nice morning out. This beaker is the one that had our little excuse me, our little leftovers, not leftovers, but from the gold bond wires. So I went ahead and put some Aqua regia in there. We are getting a reaction, so we're just going to let that play out. I have removed our filters from the other two filtering things and combined our fluid. There's the fluid we got out of it, and all the yellow junk is in here. So I am going to do a stannous test on this. So let me get this camera mounted. Do this stannous test to make sure we have nothing in here, And like I said, we're getting a nice little reaction over here from our gold bond wires. So there must have been more in there than I thought, which is always nice. Maybe that'll make up for this mess. But anyway, we'll get right back at you in just a bit. I don't know what we're going to get. I don't know if this is the right thing to do, the wrong thing to do, and at this point, I just want to get it finished. So I am going to do it this way. I know the HCl will dissolve some of the iron, but we're probably going to have to deal with an iron problem. Irregardless, this is how we're going to do it. And we are getting a little reaction because there was nitric already in those filters. But we're going to go ahead and do this. I'm going to put 3 pipettes in there. Okay guys, a few minutes has gone by, probably about 15 minutes, and as you can see we are getting a good reaction in that jar where we had that orange basically powdered slime. We don't have that anymore. Everything has gone into solution. I know that that's iron. You know, I know there's some gold in there, but I mean I know most of that color is going to be from iron. Too bad it's not all going to be from gold. I'm going to show you, this was our ash from our little IC chips and our little diodes, the new type diodes, you know, the little tiny plastic ones. So that, it looks like it's finished reacting. I am going to go ahead and start filtering that little guy off. I'm going to let this go a little more because we're still we're still getting a reaction. So I want to go ahead and let it go. I'm not seeing anything form in the bottom of that. So apparently there's enough acids in there that everything's going into solution and not dropping back out. I'm going to go ahead and, like I said, let this go. I know I said I wasn't going to come back till we were ready to filter, but I did want to show you that we do have a clear solution now, not that slimy rust stuff. So anyhow, I'm going to go ahead and start filtering that little one off. We're going to let this one go a little bit more because we're still getting some reaction, and we'll get back at you when we're ready to filter this one. Okay everybody, we are back. We got it all filtered off. I actually denoxed this with some urea. If that was gold solution, we'd be rich, but it is, I know, a lot of iron. I'm not going to be overly careful with measurements and stuff here because I don't think we have a lot of gold. So I'm actually just going to pour some sodium metabisulfite in here. I'm going to put some distilled water in it and get it to dissolve, warm it up, and then we are going to drop this gold, whatever there is here. It did show positive. Now this is a combination of both of our from our little chips, and then from the mucky rust colored stuff, which you can obviously see all dissolved, which I'm sure was iron. Now that I've done some reading and some other things, and I guess the best way to do this is to put them in hydrochloric acid and just leave them sit, you know, for however long it takes until the hydrochloric acid dissolves all the iron. That's supposedly the better way of dissolving iron, and we won't end up with that mess. But look at how gold that stirring rod is. Now it does test positive for gold, but it's not, you know, a strong positive. So I know there's a little bit of gold in it. Hopefully we can get it out and see what we get. So as soon as this sodium metabisulfite dissolves, we'll get back at you and do this drop. Okay everybody, our Sodium metabisulfite is dissolved. I'm going to put a drop or two of HCl in here just because it helps a little bit. And we are going to get ready to do our drop. Like I said, I don't expect anything spectacular to happen, simply because I know there's not a lot of gold in there, even though it looks like it, courtesy of iron. So I'm going to go ahead and pour this in, and we're going to see if we get a drop. Okay guys, it does appear that we finally got a tiny little drop. Nothing spectacular. We are getting a little bit of gold settling out. So it's going to be very fine powder, probably because of the iron. So we're just going to let this sit, and I will get back at you later on. Okay everybody, we are getting a drop. I just wanted to try and get out here in the sunlight to show you. I don't know how well you can see that. It's a very fine powder. We're still fairly cloudy here, so I'm probably going to end up having to leave this sit all night. Good morning everybody. It is another rainy, cloudy, dreary day out here in North Carolina land. Our juice did settle out, and I don't know if you can see down in there, but we do have some gold. I'm not positive how much yet. Let's see if we can get a look at it. So we are going to go ahead and get this filtered off and get it melted. And I'm going to spare you guys all that because you've seen me do it 100 times and see how much gold we ended up with. So we'll be back at you in just a bit. Okay everybody, we got our gold powder rinsed. It was about 2 times that much when we started with it. After I got it, cleaned out the drop jar or the drop beaker, there was about 2 times that much. Then when I rinsed it really good in boiling hot water several times, and then boiled it in nitric acid to get rid of the iron. And I don't know how well you can see that, but there is what we ended up with. So we got a little tiny bit of gold there. I'm going to transfer it into a little melting dish, and we are going to melt it, and we're going to see how much gold we got. Okay guys, here we go. We are going to melt this little bit of powder and see what we got. Now there's a little bit of water in there, so I have to evaporate that off slowly first, and then we will have to gather that gold. So let me get everything I need over here, and let's get to it. Okay guys, we're back. I had a real hard time gathering up that gold, as you could see. I mean, even in the time lapse, you could see it was not easy. The reason being is it just formed little BBs all over the place, and I had to try and gather them up. We're going to take our little tiny nugget, not even a nugget, not even a smidget of gold. I don't know if you can see that. It is pure, though. I can tell by the color. But you see that little tiny dot in my hand? I got to be very careful. If I drop that, it's a goner. That is our gold. Okay, everybody, here we are with our final tally. I don't know if you can even see that from up there. I'm going to be very careful with it. It looks to be maybe about 2 millimeters across. So we are going to attempt to weigh it in grams. My scale does go to 1/1000th of a gram, or I mean 100th of a gram. So my scale goes to 0.00 in grams. We're going to put some dead weight on it so we can get it accurate. Okay, we have 53.03 or 59.03, and now let's see what we got. I am showing 0.06. So let me get a pen. I found another video finally, looking, doing research about these, and it was approximately, the guy got about 1/2 gram out of 120 grams of just these things. And I mean cleaned. They were all clean. No lead on them, no whatever, and he got, you know, about 1/2 gram out of 120. I had approximately 35 grams, 30 to 35 grams. I should have wrote it down, I forgot. After I pulled the caps, cleaned everything off and all that, I had about 35 grams out of the 100 pickups, the laser pickups. So in order to get 1/2 gram of gold, using his video as a reference and what I did, you're going to have to break down about 400 of those laser pickups. So let's be nice, 300 to get 1/2 gram. You're talking about 20 hours overtime if you're working a work week. It's just too much, guys. It is too much. I mean, I'm going to crack them with pliers and get them out because there's gold on them, and probably put them in a bag, you know, and put them away somewhere. But I'll take a picture of this and show it to you on top of a quarter, and we're going to wrap it up. So we're going to do something fun coming up. I don't have any idea what it's going to be, but anyhow, guys, I hope you enjoyed this series. I hope you enjoyed it more than I did. No offense, Scrapper or Scrap Man 50. I really appreciate you sending me the stuff. I've always been kind of curious about these as well. So now we know. I mean, yeah, there's gold there, but it's a lot of work for a little bit of gold. So we will see you guys in the next video.